Peter Thatcher. I'm the GM at Mesh IT. I'm also a director at Mesh Health, who are the creators of Simpatico, which we'll be talking about. Just by way of background, I've had 7 years experience in conversational AI, so it's a space I'm very interested in. So we mentioned Mesh Health. Mesh Health have created Simpatico, and Simpatico is a conversational AI mental health self-assessment tool. And the reason this has come about and why we created this was, like everybody else, we were pretty shocked by the state of the mental health crisis mid-COVID, and thought, what can we do? And we realised, well, we're conversational AI experts. How can we use that to help? But we realised we weren't mental health experts. So we partnered with Dr. Simon Kinsella to create this tool, which I said is a mental health self-assessment tool. And it's to help people to get help as early as we possibly can. And as Simon's put it, early intervention means less intervention, which helps people involved, but it also reduces the burden on clinicians. Now, talking of clinicians, if it takes 6 years to create a psychologist, obviously more clinicians is not the answer to the issue that we're facing today. The answer is, how do we use technology to reduce burden on those clinicians so they can help more people? And primarily, how do we get people to get help early so we reduce the severity of the issues that they're facing? We know companies are trying to do this, and they're trying to do this from numerous means. And, primarily for enterprises, it's the employee assistance programs. But unfortunately, they're just not working. I mean, the data's in, and the data says that they're very, very low engagement figures. In fact, an extensive study by Harvard Medical School in the US essentially said EAP systems don't work. They don't have any impact on any of the major employee indicators such as absenteeism, presenteeism, etc. So we're trying to work in with EAP systems and help by doing this self-assessment and pointing people to the right resources. So how are we doing that? Well, there's three things that we need to do, right? The first one is we need to engage with people. Obviously, without speaking to people, nothing happens. And we know there's a couple of must-haves, and those must-haves is people must be able to speak in their own voice. So this has got to be more than a form. It's got to be more than ticking boxes. It's got to be a human-style conversation. We also know that judgmentality is a very key issue. People feeling judged, they will not share, and they will not give the information that's required to help them. Surprisingly, people trust bots more than they do humans in this instance. They have no sense of judgmentality with the bot. So in this one case, bots actually have a leg up. Secondly, scalability. It has to scale. We need to be able to have these personalised conversations with a lot of people. I mean, for us to have an impact on a reduction in the workload on clinicians, we need to be able to take our conversations and have them en masse. We need to be able to have them early. We need to be able to help people intervening early before they get too ill. And we need to be able to do these en masse to make sure that we're reducing the impact on the clinicians. And as a result of that, the last kind of bucket, if you like, is we're getting a lot of insights. And those insights are into two categories. The first category, obviously, is the individual. And we're getting a view from the individual as to how well or not they are. We're able to point them to the appropriate resources, and also they've got the opportunity to take the information that they've put in and take it to see a clinician and sort of move pretty quickly up the curve to have a conversation about the issues that they're facing. The second category is capturing information for the employer. Now, obviously, this is anonymised and it's done with informed consent, but we give the employer a view of the psychosafety of their organisation. How safe is it to work there? What are the issues that people are facing? And this gives the employer the chance to pull the right levers to improve that situation. An example of an organisation that we work with is a wonderful group of people who've got a website called She's a Crowd. And She's a Crowd help mainly women to anonymously tell their stories of gender-based violence. That data is then used to inform legislators and other decision makers on these matters and helping them to create better outcomes. But of course, having these conversations can open up a can of worms for some people, and Simpatico's on the webpage there to help people post that conversation who wish to have a conversation, deal with mental health issues that may or may not have arisen as part of that conversation. So I think we've done in the order of 3,500 conversations. So we're pretty excited about being able to work with these wonderful folk. And finally, as I was saying earlier on, the kind of data that an enterprise is going to be able to collect is, interaction ratios, engagement rates, mental health index. We look at a number of factors and come up with a number, a happiness score. Part of Simpatico, when you first start the conversation, is to use a Likert scale with emojis to help capture, how you feel. It's also going to tell people. It's also going to tell employers what are the key issues facing their employees, such as anxiety, trauma, those kind of things, and help them to think about how they're going to deal with that. I think what's really interesting about these kind of numbers is that I think in the not too distant future, people are going to be asking about this when they go for a job. I mean, it's great to get a good salary and free coffee and free medical care, but none of that really matters if you're unhappy or if you're working in an environment that's stressful and is impacting your health. So I think these kind of numbers are going to become critical if companies want to become employers of choice. People are going to be asking about them. How stressful is the environment? How happy is the environment? So only time will tell, I guess. But thank you. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to Simpatico.